Okay, welcome back to the Caribou Media Outdoors podcast. With me tonight is Brandon Hope from Backyard Bows. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's nice
Looks
to
like you've been
finally.
busy. You've been pumping these things out.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised. Like I had messaged a bunch of people, and
You got some good feedback.
I got some good feedback, and
Yeah.
I got a bunch of backlog, so it's good. I don't have to freak out and be like, oh shit, I got to get something done this week.
Yeah, for sure. No, I feel that with the reviews sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
I wish I would stage them a little bit differently, but I get so anxious after I do one where I'm like, I just want to share this. I can't hold on to it. So I just end up posting it. But
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. Like, even if I have 2 or 3 like scheduled, I'll be like, whatever.
yeah.
Right. That's awesome. So, just give everybody an idea of who you are and what you do with Backyard Bows.
I think Backyard Bows, originally what we wanted was to create an honest, platform for the internet, bring some truth to the internet. Cause I think, as we all know, in this industry and anywhere, you really don't know what you're watching, what's true, what's not true, So I thought that was my number one goal, was to create a place for me to learn as well. But more for like an interaction, like a hunting community interaction, platform that it was just honest, and kind of fair. And that's where it started. I think I was doing my review process. So a lot of the things we do, the quick 50, the single shot assessment, all that stuff I was doing every time I would get a bow anyway. That was just like something I do with my buddies. And then eventually somebody's like, you should film this. Our little process we do here in the yard. I think somebody would like this or like to hear what you have to say. So that's kind of where it started. I never thought it would, we just hit 15,000 subscribers. Yeah. Like I never thought it would go there. I was doing it more maybe to get a free bow here or something, get some gear.
Yeah.
I had no idea where it was going to go. But I love the direction it's headed, because I think we've kept our honest aspect to it. Don't have any skin in the game. I'm not a bow shop or maybe an influencer that is sponsored by a certain company. So we can kind of say how it is.
Whatever you want.
Our opinion still, but kind of say how it is. And I always tell people that. So like, Prime reaches out, say, hey, we got a bow for you. Or I always remind them, like, send us what you want, but we're going to give it a fair shake,
Yeah.
And like Prime's the best example. They're like, just tell us what you think. We want to, we want to know what you think, know? And the best, like, I love the guy over there I interact with, and but he's always like, I don't care, Brandon, just give it to us honest, and I love that, because that's a good sign of that they trust in their product, that they're going to give it to you knowing that maybe, it could go either way, kind of gives faith in what they have. And then some companies are like, no.
Oh, yeah.
I have so many people I've reached out to so many times and been like, hey, send me a bow. I want to review this bow. I want, my goal is to have like every company where, like, if you look on some of the reviewers, like, I mean, it's the same companies.
Yeah.
It's the same 5 companies.
Yep.
I was obsessed with like Obsession and like some of these companies that like I kind of heard of, but didn't really have a ton of access to their bows. So like, I've tried to get some companies give me a bow so many times, and they're like, no.
Thanks, but no thanks. We're like,
we don't want the Backyard Bows gauntlet. We don't want to.
Okay.
I think some people, or maybe they just don't like the show. I don't know.
But I don't know. Well, I'm not saying this because you're here, but I can honestly say without a doubt, I am addicted to YouTube. I watch it all the time. Sometimes we'll watch regular TV, but when I'm watching it myself, I'm watching YouTube videos. And your channel, your reviews are by far, in my opinion, the best on the internet.
Dude,
every time your video comes up, they're always a good length. You're getting, half an hour, 30, 40 minutes worth of content. It's going to be good. You're going to put it through the paces. I love how you have like your process is different from anything else. They get so cookie cutter. You know, all these people want to do these, and they put them out, and it's always the same stuff. Smooth draw, solid black wall.
Yeah.
You know, there's like no vibration, and then it's over. It's like
because I'm a YouTube guy too. So like, you know, and it's funny because I feel like there's two types of YouTube people. There's people who they haven't spent their money yet. They want to watch a video that convinces them that, hey, my hard-earned money is worth spending on this bow. And then you have the other guy. He's already bought the product. He wants
Tell me I made a good decision.
He wants you to reassure him that he spent his money on something good, you know?
Right.
I'm the second guy. I'll buy something, and then I go back and I'm like, you know, let me see what this guy's to say about this.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stand to watch a bow review. And I think when I first looked, Matthews was putting out like the Halons. And I shot a Halon 6. At that point in time, $1,300 was like, I mean, I was hiding it from like my better half. I'm like, I got to put this money aside so I can buy this bow. You know, that was a lot of money, and I was almost convinced that I wanted to buy it, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch a review. I just want to know what somebody has to say about this bow, comparing it maybe to what else is out there. And I couldn't find a review on the bow, and then I finally found one guy, and I'm not dogging nobody, but this guy, it was some just old random guy on the side of this barn, and he shot a couple arrows and he gave his 2 cents, you know. And then I looked at how many views he had, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy has like 50,000 reviews on this video or something. And
people like the honesty, right?
I could make a better review than that, you know. I'm thinking in my head, like, I could do 3 things and make this video way better. And again, I don't know anything about videography, audio, nothing.
Nope.
Not computer savvy at all. You know, with our companies, I got a lady who does it all. So I had to learn a lot of this stuff. But I knew in my head, like, I could make a better video than that. And that was like the turning point for me, was like, maybe I should. And then I also have my brother-in-law is Cooper from Garage Gym Reviews.
Okay.
So his success in that field of reviewing just gym equipment and how much, like, oh man, I mean, they've grown, and he's done really well for himself. That also was like, oh, maybe there is something else more to this reviewing, you know, game than just getting a free t-shirt. So I'm the type of person too, like once I go all in, I get consumed by something. So like, I knew that, like, hey, if I'm going to start this, I'm going to do it. You know, I'm not just going to put a couple videos out. I think my goal was like 50 bows in the first year, you know, 1 a week. Wow. You know, I think we got like 46 or something, and we've slowed down since then, but you know, I kind of full head of steam right into there just to see what it could come to. And sure enough, I feel like I've gotten a lot of good feedback. And maybe it's not, you know, I don't know about other communities, but maybe the hunting community was just flooded with like bullshit. You know, just bullshit. You know, but I feel like we're the type of guys, like, we don't want somebody just selling us something.
No.
I don't want you just giving me some sales pitch. Like, I'm reaching out for like an honest assessment.
Yeah.
And you just weren't getting it. You know, you knew the guy had a couple bows behind him on the wall that he was trying to sell you, or you knew that that person shot only that bow. Of course, they're going to say it's the best bow in the world.
Yeah.
It just, and that the market was like saturated with just that. So I think I saw like that little gap of like, oh, I just want to be honest. I think people will love that. They can go somewhere and know that they might not agree with me, but they know that what they're getting is real. You know, and nobody's telling me what to say. It's
the best part.
Nobody ever will, you know. You know, and I had PSE reach out and say, hey, you want to come? We'll put you on a hunt, you know, and we're going to put you on a hunt with our new bow. And we want this, this, and this. And I'm like, you know, that's not me. You know, if you give me free range, I'll go on the hunt. I'll bring it back. We'll run it through just like how we do everything else. And they were like, well, yeah, you know, and to me, like, even my spouse is like, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing that? And I'm like, because I can't have somebody tell me what to say about something. That ruins the whole platform.
Your whole premise of why you're there in the first place.
Yes, and like I feel like if that's what I'm building it on, I got 5,000 subscribers that I think are like they're genuine. That was a really hard earned 15,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hard climb. It was an organic climb. And I feel like if I sold out like that, I don't know. It's just not me. So
Yeah. So we'll go back in time a little bit. When did you, if you can remember, when did you first pick up a bow, and how did that kind of transition into bow hunting for you?
I was like 6.
Okay.
A little bitty.
Yeah.
My dad was an avid outdoorsman. It's funny because like me and my brothers and my dad, we all went different directions. We're all outdoorsmen, but each one of us picked like our own addiction. I'm turkey and deer, mostly deer.
Yeah.
I spring turkey hunt just to get me to deer season.
Right. Fill the gap.
Oh, for sure. And I'll go upland hunting with my brother and go fishing with my other brother. And then, my oldest brother, he's an upland hunting guide. So he loves birds, ducks, pheasants, whatever he runs dogs and he loves birds. My younger brother, he's an avid fisherman. And then my dad was, he was a hunter, but he loved like trap and skeet. Like he was like a sportsman, now he hunted, but it wasn't like my deer hunting passion is like, stem from myself. Right. My dad pointed me in the right direction, but it wasn't like we had a family farm and, he took us down there every weekend and we bow hunted all together. That's not, that's not my story. I'm self-taught in a sense of, trial and error. Mm-hmm. Watch a video here and there, get out in the woods, and you just kind of learn as you go. It's crazy to think how far I've come from the first time I got up in a stand with like some jeans on. I don't even the bow I use, I think I've just bought it offline, and but self-taught. I always wish I had a family farm and wish I had a dad who was like, set your stands up for you and helps you. But I feel like I have a sense of accomplishment from the deer I take that like is way more than the average,
Mm-hmm. It's like when you save up and buy your own car instead of having it given to you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen so many times in my life, even just like the building we're sitting in. And the reason we haven't done a ton of reviews because we just were, moving our companies and this building needed a lot of work. But the sense of pride I get from just sitting in this new office, having worked for it, and going through everything that it takes to get to where you are, it's such a better feeling on the other end. Mm-hmm. And with hunting, for sure, you go out there, man, I don't know if I'm going to start probably something, I'm sure I'll trigger somebody here at least once or twice, but, to me, hunting is fair chase, and I love Missouri for that reason, because we just have some great laws, the way it's set up. I love deer hunting in Missouri, and everybody, if you're outside and you're enjoying the outdoors, I don't care how you do it, but I do think there's a difference between hunting and harvesting, and if you put in some good work and you are able to bag a deer of any caliber, that's so much more valuable to me than trophy hunting or whatever, one of the deers I'm most proud of that's hanging behind the wall at Backyard Bows is, 8-pointer. I worked harder for that deer than I had ever worked in any season,
Yeah.
And that might've been the first season I came together as a bow hunter, truly scouted and hunted and learned from my mistakes during the season and finally was able to come out on the other end. I mean, that's like, that's the best feeling in the world. That's why we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a process, right? When you're starting, and like I got into it later in life. I picked up a bow when I was like 7 on a family trip. We were at like a resort that had outdoor activities, so they had archery. So I did it there, loved it. One of my mom's friends had a farm, and she she'd take me up there whenever they'd get together, and she had like a $30, fiberglass bow, and would give it to me and say, "Go, we're gonna go talk now. We're gonna go chat." Right. So I'd shoot that for a bit. High school, I was on the archery team. We had an archery team for 1 year, and we shot like recurves, and then I completely got away from it. And then in my 30s, one of my friends called me up and said, "I just got back from Bass Pro. I bought this thing called a compound. You have to buy one."
You have to buy one.
He's like, "This is nothing like what we did in high school," right? And I remember going through and I'm looking at them and I'm just like trying to figure out, what are all those strings all about? Like, are these like, I'm looking at the cables thinking, are these like spares in case this one breaks? I got no idea, right?
Yeah.
Zero. And he was like, "Oh, I'll bring it over. You can shoot it." And I'm right-handed, but I'm left eye dominant, so I shoot left. And his was right-handed, so I shot a bunch of his arrows way off target, and eventually got my I got a Hoyt Helix Ultra as the first bow in 2019, and then just kind of built up from there. But yeah, just hooked right off the bat.
You got Stella wanted to say hi. How you doing?
Hi.
Say hey. All right, go back, watch a movie. I knew she was going to come in at some point.
That's okay.
She heard us talking. She got to be a part of it. So,
That's right.
She got to say hi.
Gotta get yeah. So, how did you come up with your process then?
Trial and error for sure. But and I think the biggest thing to me is like anybody who talks about stability. That's such a hard thing to test.
Right.
Because one, you don't know if it's you or the bow or, it's a pure opinion in a way. You get a guy that shoots bows back to back. These videos all the time. Picks up one bow, shoots 2 arrows, picks up one, says, "Look at the stability because I shot the second 2 better than the first 2. I don't know. That to me was a hard one to feel good about putting it on backyard bows in a video, which the full draw stall and the quick 50. Those are kind of like the 2 shots that I think really, the full draw stall is going to magnify any instability in a bow. And I think the quick 50, I think the proof's in the pudding at that range, being able to set up, draw, anchor in, and release in a matter of 3 to 4 seconds and feel confident. Mm-hmm. That's the bow, not you, in my mind.
Right.
So those are like the 2 tests for the stability. So that was kind of a hard one. Running the 3D gauntlet, I feel like is just entertaining. Like if I was to watch a review, that's something I would want to see. I don't want to see somebody shoot a block target. I don't want to see somebody shoot at the same target.
Right.
So I think that was more just to get the audience's eye and attention, and intrigued in something other than just shooting regularly. And then we were able to lengthen the videos and add a little bit more input about hunting or all kinds of stuff. I sometimes chat away about other things besides the bow. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to give every bow a fair shake, and I wanted to give them the time I thought they deserved. As an avid archer, I think the craftsmen and the engineers and everybody that goes into designing these things, whether you like the bow or the company or not, like it's incredible. Mm-hmm. Especially what they're doing. I mean, what Darton just did with their tuning system that they put on these bows is so simple and just like It's like elegant and like simple and just you're like, how did nobody think of this? And so I always like thought in my mind, I want to honor the craftsmen and the engineers and the designers and like give each bow the time it deserves.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was for me or not, I don't want to discriminate, and I want every bow company, and I still want to get some of the God, what do they call the really short compound bows you shoot between a dual riser?
Oh yeah.
Why am I drawing a blank? I've been trying to get hit. I've been trying to get what's his name over there? Trying to get him to give me a bow forever. But like any company that I see, new or old, or even a lot of the companies, some people are online will leave it in the comments. I want you to review this. And I'm like, oh, I've never heard that. Go look it up, reach out to them. I want one of everything, you know.
Yeah, I think that's really what sets you apart from a lot of these other people, is that you're giving each one a fair opportunity, and you can't tell. I mean, you may make a comment about how much you like it, but it's not known from the first 10 seconds that you're siding with this company over another one. You're giving them each the time of day. You're talking about if they came out with new accessories, you're talking about them, or you're showing them. Like, you're really going through and giving every company a fair shake, which is
well,
and
awesome. I think
awesome.
another thing, when I got done watching a review, even nowadays, I'm always left with questions. That's another thing I really tried to like narrow down. If somebody watches this review and they really watch it, I want them to be able to be like fulfilled. You know, their questions are answered, and they're leaving maybe having a little bit more comfortability or knowing of that product. You know, I would always leave and be like, oh, I wonder what this was, or I wonder how that worked. And that's kind of like I wanted to, especially with the tuning systems that come out, I always wanted to give like a little bit better insight on what it is, how it works, how it's beneficial, that kind of thing.
Right.
And the best part about the bows, and like I'm intrigued. You know, I love all the bows. So if I get a new bow in hand, like you guys think I'm doing it for you. I'm not. I'm doing it for me. You know?
That's right.
You know,
you're just watching, but I'm having more fun over here.
Yeah, we put up a camera, but I'm doing this because I really want to know about this bow. I want to shoot it and figure out what I'm going to shoot next. You know, and you guys will see, like when we go through a season, it's hard at this point to just hunt with one bow.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I get tired. I'll shoot a couple of deer, and I'm like, all right, well, now I want to see how this one, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm just, I'll try to mix 4 or 5 bows into a season if I can. You know, mix up arrows, broadheads, all that stuff. And now that we've done that, because I think for a while I'd hunt with a couple seasons with a bow, you know, 10 years ago or something, but I can't anymore. You know, I want to get my hands on as many bows as possible.
And you got to you actually got to hunt with the prime form before you did the review. Is that right?
Oh, man.
What do you think?
Well, I loved that perspective of the review because I had never got really to do that. Get a bow, put it in the field, use it, be in tight situations or quick situations, or you know, and when you're pig hunting like that, I mean, they're flying in. It's not like deer moseying in. I mean, these things are running in, running out, behind you, all around you. It really makes you have to hone in on what you're doing. But I loved being able to put it into the field. I love prime more and more. I think my first prime was a prime Eon. It was a dual track cam, you know, one of those back in the day. And you know, again, just like the prime form, you look at it, you're like, what is this?
Yes.
You know, it's more intriguing than anything. You know,
yeah.
You're drawn to it. You're like, I want to try this. Give me this thing. You know. And I think that's what it was with the prime Eon. And I ended up finding one online, and I used to trade a lot. So I'd get a bow, I'd use it for a little bit, and then I would just get online and trade with a guy, you know. And I'd always catch them right at the end of the season. You get all these guys, they spend $1,000 on a bow, and then their wife's like, "Hey, hunting season's over, bud. You know, let's get some money back." And then you get all these guys, and then the market's like flooded with all these almost brand new bows that have got hunted a couple times and
shot a handful of times. Yeah,
price drops immediately, so you get all these good deals, you know. So I used to wait, and then I just trade and swap, and but I think prime has come a really long way from there.
Oh yeah,
and it's funny because I think that they're kind of going back in time a little bit with some of the cam and the technology, and like they're kind of stepping away from that more complex system, and like I think it's just done them a great. I mean, I love where they're at.
Yeah, I had Brian Anderson from Prime on a couple of days ago, and I said, you know what I think it is?
He's the man.
He's amazing.
He's the man.
I love that guy so much.
Yeah.
He's a guy I could sit and talk to and drink with forever.
Oh, like every time we get on a phone call, we end up. I look at my phone. I'm like, man, we talked for 47 minutes about I don't even know, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I said, you know what I think it is? People take one look at it and they think, what am I looking at? Because normally it's either carbon or it's aluminum.
Yep. Yeah.
And because it's together, you're like confused. What am I looking at? I don't know. Right? It said, you know, they over engineer everything. It's not going to fall apart. Like it
Well,
looks,
you
it
know, and
looks amazing.
I have to even check myself. I created a platform that I'm supposed to be open to
Right.
things. And I still, sometimes I'm like, what is that? You know, I'm not going to like that, you know, and then I have to like take a step back and be like, yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know, let's shoot it. Let's really kind of run through what we do and see. And usually I'm surprised. And every time I turn my nose up to something, just being me, I usually come back and I'm like, damn, like I really like this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And anybody who comes in the shop, because I used to work at a shop here in Missouri on the weekends, like anybody that would come in there, I'd be like, just be open. You know, pick
Shoot
three
them all.
bows. Pick 3 bows.
Yeah.
Pick the one you came in that your brother told you had to get.
Mhm.
You know, there's always that relative shoots a bow. Hey, it's usually a Matthews guy.
I was just gonna say that.
You know, and they're like, you have to shoot this. And
Yeah.
then the guy comes in, he's like, hey, you guys have Matthews. I want a Matthews. And I'm like, yeah, of course. What shop doesn't? You know, and then you tell them, hey, like, let me pick a bow for you that I personally think is going to suit your biomechanical structure. Okay, as a somebody who's been doing this for a while, let me pick a bow for you, and then look up there and grab the bow that you're already like, I'd never shoot that. Okay, because I know you have one.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they always go over, they grab this bow and they're like, yeah, I literally told myself I'd never shoot that. Okay. Right. And then we shoot those 3 bows. Sometimes it's the bow they came in with. Sometimes it's the bow I picked for them. Sometimes it's the bow that they never thought they would ever shoot.
Yeah. That's cool.
But that's kind of like always how I structure them. Like, let's do 3. And to be honest, I want you to leave today without buying a bow. And the owners used to hate it.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Like, just leave today without buying a bow. Come back next Saturday. Come see me. Let's shoot 3 more. Eventually, you're going to be like, it's like buying a house. You know, you like see all these houses, and all of a sudden you're like, this is it. I haven't even seen the inside of this house, but I know this is my house.
Yeah.
You know, the light bulb turns on in their head and they look at you, they're like, this is it. You know, like, this is the one I want, you know, and it's just something about it that feels comfortable. They maybe feel a little bit more confident about the way they're shooting it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I always try to keep people open-minded, you know, because I was a Matthews guy. I mean, for years, and I think it was only because the guys I used to hunt at this camp, I was the new guy, and I'd go to this camp, and they always had all the new, you know, and back then it was like the Creed and like all these new Matthews bows, and I'm like, I want that. I can't afford it, but I want it, you know.
Yeah.
And then when I finally was able to get it, that's what I shot, because that's what I wanted in my head. And like, there were wonderful bows, and I got a ton of deer and a lot of hunting out of them, but I'm so glad I finally reached a point where I'm like, I know better. Just because I like a bow from Elite this year, that doesn't mean I'm going to love what they put out next year. You know?
Well, that's actually how I found you. I was looking up Elite Ethos videos. That's what I went with here. And again, I think I watched probably 50 of your views from that video. That's all me. I kept doing it. I was like, this is amazing. I love this thing. Anyway, yeah. So that's what is it about the artist that you think is that what you're talking about? The new artist that they came out with this year?
No, I was just, you know, I love the artist, and I've actually loved like the last 5 years of Elite bows. Elite's like one of my, I mean, they're up there. If I was to be honest, if I was to be biased, you know, like I got my own favorites too, naturally.
Oh, of course.
Elite's up there. They're killing it. I've always said if Elite advertised like Matthews, it'd be the best bow company in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that they're just confident where they are. They know their product's good, and it's kind of like this slow grind climb for them. And they put out just like, you know, just make a couple little changes, tweak it, and like they just put out awesome bows. bows, undeniable, some of the best bows out there. But what I was saying was like, just because you love something one year with that company doesn't mean you're going to love it the next year. If your favorite bow was a PSE from one year, that doesn't mean you're going to like the next bow they put out. And I know that. And then you have, I call them the fanboys. Just people who just, I mean, and I'm not shooting anybody down. It sounds like I'm like using a derogatory type word, you know. That's just what I call them. But you know, it's somebody who they know a product or a manufacturer. It's worked for them. They've had success with it. They trust it, and that's what they go with, and that's fine.
They don't want to steer away.
I got like my chiropractor. He's an old head, you know, been hunting his whole life, and he shoots older Matthews, you know, and that's just what he shoots, and that's what he feels confident with. And shoots his E7 right now, and that's just like his bread and butter. Power to you, you know. So most of my comments are directed towards like new people who are beginners or new to archery or seeking information. I try to preach constantly, just keep an open mind.
Yeah.
You know, because really we are all so different. It's really hard for me to take your word that something is the most comfortable bow you shot because you don't have my shoulder injury and I don't have your back injury. And, you know, we're just built differently. I'm not as flexible as you, whatever it may be. It's a really hard pitch to everybody to be like, you have to shoot this bow. It's like, there's a bow out there that I promise you you're going to be like, wow, that feels really, really good. And once you reach that point of that feels really good, that's when you're going to shoot it a bunch. And that's what you want. You know, and that's when you're going to get confident. That's when your groups are going to get tighter, is when you see yourself picking up something every single day and loving it. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember I'm a sucker for visuals, and whenever those production videos come out, I just, you know, Monday I want a Hoyt, Tuesday I want a Matthews, Wednesday I want a, right?
They all drop back to back to back.
Drop, right? I'm like, this is my favorite.
It's like sensory overload. You're like, oh.
And like, you know, the Bowhunter magazine at first page you flip over is always Matthews, last page is Hoyt or whatever. And I remember when I was going into the bow shop, it was either going to be a Hoyt, Helix, Ultra, or the Matthews Verdicts. And I walked up and I picked up the Matthews, and I wasn't a huge fan of like the grip or the angle of the grip, and it kind of fell forward. It was kind of top heavy. So I put it down, and then I picked up the Hoyt, and it was like, it just, like my hand was just perfect in that grip.
Love, baby.
I was like, okay, there we go. Just want to take a quick break to talk to you about a couple of things that I've been using that I think might benefit you. One is this Numa Outdoors gear. This is in their Kaza OV pattern, which is great whitetail pattern when you're up in a tree in the fall and late season. They also have a Kaza pattern which has more green in it, which is good for spring through to the fall. Numa has given me a code to give to you of Caribou Media 20, which will save you 20% at checkout. Another product here that I've been using for years now is the Bulldog targets. This is a Canadian made target. They're made in Manitoba. They have a lifetime warranty. I've used that warranty twice now on a couple of my larger targets that are outside. It's very simple, very easy. These targets are 2-finger removal every single time, which is incredible. Field point only target. Bulldog's been gracious enough to give me a 20% discount code to give to you at checkout. Use code BD20-Caribou-Media. That'll save you 20% on these awesome targets. Now back to the show. Right. So like you said, you know, some things might be good for one person and not so good with another, and you just got to give them all a fair shake and see where you land, right? And have an open mind.
And I do that single shot assessment with people in the shop too, where I just tell them, like, close your eyes. Close your eyes. When your eyes are closed, your other senses are heightened. Heightened. So everything, the way you feel it, the way it balances, the way it sounds, all of it. So I'll carry some of these little things I do in the videos, like, into the shop when I'm shooting with somebody for the first time. And again, the owners, they love that I'm there helping, but they also, like, I sell them a lot of bows.
Yeah.
but I also like, you know, they don't like some of the things I do. You know?
Don't tell them to go away. They're
Yeah,
already here.
Don't
They're
tell them to
already
not buy
here.
a bow today, or don't tell them about this company we don't carry, or
Oh yeah.
But I
You know
do. I'm like, you know
try.
what? I think you're really gonna like this bow. And they're like, where is it? They're like, well, they don't carry it here.
Oh, we don't have it
Go
here.
somewhere else. And I'm looking over, and Steven's like, are you
What are
kidding
you
me?
doing?
I'm like, sorry, dude. Sorry.
Yeah. Are you working for me or not?
Yeah. No, I'm volunteering. Okay, that's why I can say this.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you got to test 20 broadheads, and you actually took them all into the field. So you got even better. You know, it's not like just shooting them into ballistic shell. You actually took them on hog hunts. And how did that all work out for you? Were you surprised at some of the outcomes, or?
I would say not surprised. I think my favorite part about that trip was talking to that dog guide, the guy who ran that dog. One, he was just a cool. Me and him just vibed right from the beginning. He was joking.
Yeah.
Like, he's a funny dude. It's fun to be around. But like, you could tell when you brought it up, like, hey, tell me about this dog situation. He just lit up. Like, it was like he you know, sometimes you spark somebody's interest and they just like they'll talk to you for hours about it.
He's almost begging you to ask him.
Oh yeah. And I could tell, but I also knew like, oh, there's probably a lot of good information that I'm going to get from this guy. And I did. I think that was my favorite part, was just talking to him about mechanicals versus, you know, fixed, and blood trails and tracking and wounds. And I mean, everything that you could possibly want information on, he had. And then on top of it, we got to there was 12 of us down there. So we all shot 6+ pigs, you know, and we're shooting, you know, different broadheads every sit, you know, so you got 3 sits, each one of us shoots. I mean, we were just shooting everything and anything, you know. And then you get to come back, you see the wounds on the pigs while they're skinning them, you see the entry, the exit, everybody's getting to track their own stuff. And that was an accumulation of a ton of information. And I'm sitting there just soaking it up. Like, when I get around these things, I'm like a kid in a candy shop, you know. I'm all ears, you know.
Just a sponge. Yeah.
Like, I love it. You know, I love broadheads. Like, I've always loved that.
Yeah.
Even from like the very beginning, like I would use a broadhead. The next deer I'd harvest, I would use something different. You know, I loved seeing different broadheads and how they worked and how they, you know, and I got a lot of just personal experience too, which is, you know, different broadheads and what's worked for me and what hasn't. And I think if I was to really dive into it, I would say more than the broadhead, the arrow, and the bow, you know, knowing the anatomy of the critter you're shooting is 10 times more important. And that accompanied with patience. So you take those two things, you know, knowing the deer, knowing the anatomy, whether you shoot head up, head down, front leg forward, front leg backwards, all of these things that mix into when you're going to loose your arrow, accompanied with a lot of patience, that's when you're going to have success.
Yeah.
There's not a broadhead out there that's not going to kill a deer. You can kill it with a field point.
Yeah.
But, you know, there are advantages and disadvantages of some.
Yeah.
And some will obviously increase your chance of finding that harvest, producing a good blood trail, but shot placement, anatomy, patience, all of that, you know, that's so much more important. Like, if I could teach something, that's what it would be. Pick up whatever broadhead you want, as long as it tunes, you know, as long as you can tune it, and you got some straight flying arrows. I would much rather teach somebody that.
Yeah.
Aspect of it. Like, when my kids grow up, that's what I'm going to teach them. Use whatever you want. What broadhead do you like here that looks appealing?
That's right.
You know,
they're all going to work.
yeah, they're all going to end up working. Now, I think a lot of the points I made in that video are very true. And I think the most important one was, if you are new to hunting and you have not tracked a lot of animals, tracking is something that, like, I love. That's like the aftermath of that shot placement is like my favorite part. And people are like, really? Like, I love the actual shot. I love leading up to it. It's like, no, aftermath. You know, when it runs off over that hill and you're like, shit.
It's like game on.
Yep. Now it's go time, you know.
Yeah.
But if you have not done that, use mechanical. If you're new, use mechanical. You're going to get better arrow flight. You're going to have a better time tuning, easier time tuning it. You're probably going to get a heavier blood trail.
Yeah.
And it will the marginal shots that you probably are going to place being new. The mechanical is going to save you, maybe. You know.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a seasoned hunter and you're confident, I think you're going to have a better chance of actually killing the animal with a fixed blade. You know, I think you're going to get better pass throughs. You know, you do make a little shot forward. You know, it's gonna crush. You know, even shooting through tall grass from a blind, whatever. Like, it's just, I think it's more of a it's more of a killer, you know, in my mind, especially if you get into bigger game, which I haven't done a ton of, but like I can just see why, you know, guys will go for fixed blades when hunting, you know, a lot bigger animals.
Right.
But new, it's like my only thing is like, if you're new, shoot mechanical. I think you'll have better success. Even if you shoot a gut shot, whatever it may be, you know, and people don't realize it. They think you just get up into a tree and everything unfolds how you want it to. It's like, it never happens like that.
No, I know. And I think part of that is, and don't get me wrong, we all love watching videos that show this, but you don't see enough failure. You always see success, and it's always within 5 to 9 minutes, right? Oh, you get out there, you climb up the tree, you wait a minute. Oh, look, there's a deer.
Yeah.
Little do the, if you're new, little do you know, you could be out there for 20 days and not see something. You know what I mean? Like it's
well, and I wish I would have started filming a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because I would have some failure videos, you know. I can't even tell you how many times I've been thrown up at my truck. Been like, man, I just put in 40 hours to get that one opportunity and I botched it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some big deer in front of me that I mean, even to this day, a little deer, my knees start knocking, I get nervous. That's why I do it. I love it, you know. But man, I've really had some missed opportunities that I wish I could share, you know, on video and just so people can learn from them. That's why I posted the video of the 10-point. It was a horrible shot. You know how many times I shot that shot last year? And something about, I just, you know, I moved too quickly. I wasn't as patient as I should have been. All the things that I've learned over and over and over again every season that I keep having to relearn. I thought that was worth sharing. You know, just
for sure.
Nothing happens exactly how you want it to.
No.
And I thought that lesson of just what happens if you do shoot a deer a little bit farther back, only because I've had to learn that the hard way. You know, you push something and bump it, and next thing you know, it gets that adrenaline rush and heads downhill, and you're like, damn, that one I'm not going to find.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that was like a big learning video to me for anybody who hasn't been through that. You know, that's just a good lesson there. You know?
Yeah, that's my first or second year with a bow. I shot a bear, first animal I ever shot, and he had walked in. He stuck his nose up. He went up on his hind legs, sniffing around. I knew he was getting my wind. And he landed back down, turned right around the way that he came in. He started walking away, and I shot, and it was a little too high, and he took off running. He ran past the tree, arrow snaps off, and he's gone. I was like, the rush of my life, right? Adrenaline's pumping. Yeah. I'm like, I know.
Like, oh, this is why people do this.
Like the sound of it thwack, right? And he was just taking off running. I'm like, I'm doing this forever. Like I was just in, right? And like, I know I have to wait, but I'm climbing down. I got to go look at that arrow. And I looked at it, and it's like, it's got hair and blood on it, but it didn't go through, right? So it's plugged, basically. The hole's plugged up. There's no blood. And then I kind of crouched down, and there's these tunnels through all these old, like thick brush that they've made. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going in there yet until I go back to the camp and let everybody know what just happened. Because like, last thing I want to do is go tracking a bear on all fours. That could just be injured, right? So then we came back, we searched for it. It got dark. Couldn't find it. We go back to the camp, and then the argument starts, right? Half the group want to stay put. They're like, don't go after a bear in the dark. It's not a good idea. Other half is like, we've seen how Josh can shoot. That's probably a dead bear. Let's go get it. Yeah. Don't you want to find your bear? I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm just trying to stay quiet because I'm the new guy at the camp, right? And they're like, let's go. And the owner's like, you guys are idiots going out there. You should wait. Just wait. You could bump him.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went back, looked some more, and then came back in the morning, kept searching. We never found him. So the first animal I ever shot with an arrow, never found. And I hang that arrow in my garage as like a reminder.
Like, for sure. I got several of those.
Be better next time.
Yeah. Well, and like I just said, you learn some lessons over and over again.
Yeah.
But you got to be resilient. I mean, some people, I know them personally, who they are. And they're like, I want to get into hunting. Can you help me? I'm like, no. I know who you are.
Yeah.
The first time something doesn't go your way, or the first time you work real hard at something and then you don't get the outcome you want, you're gonna quit.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be resilient, and you also got to keep having an open mind. I mean, I say this all the time. Like, the hunter I am today, I don't want to be in 10 years.
Right.
I want to evolve. And the hunter I was in my 20s, man, I'm nothing like him.
Yeah.
And I just want to keep evolving. Like, when I get to a camp where there's somebody just blowing me up. I don't know how to make that sound go away. When I get to a camp, I always find that one guy in the corner, the uncle, the old guy.
The old guy. Yeah.
I go sit down and I just start chatting him up, and you can tell he's probably annoyed because I've asked him about 1,000 questions. But I just want to learn. Whatever knowledge you have in your head, like, give it to me. Because I know it's something I can't read. I can't watch it on YouTube.
No.
You have input that, like, probably dates back years and years and years of trial and error and experience and what's worked and what hasn't. And I mean, I'm always seeking more. And until I have a conversation where I'm like, I didn't learn a damn thing, I probably will continue, just trying to find, it's like chasing that, that never ending, just want it all. Want all the knowledge that anybody has to give me. I like that I'm here in that space too. In the outdoor community, sometimes you get guys that just, or anywhere, you just the know-it-all. It's like, I hope I'm never that.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, I've learned so much from the guys on Backyard Bows. Just people commenting, giving their input, sharing messages back and forth with certain guys. Just creating friends too. I mean, just people who genuinely have good input and want to give you feedback. And
it's great interacting with people that way. Like, I I think my most popular video right now is a broadhead video, and just the comments in there are just incredible, right?
Yeah.
Like, I did one that was all mechanicals and one that was all fixed blade, and you get a few guys in the mechanicals, and one guy in particular, he's like, all junk. Right, that was it. I was like,
oh, those are my favorite.
Well, I was like, hold on a second. I was like, hold on a second.
It's like, you're a real intellect, Like,
have you actually
you don't
tried
got
anything
else to say? Okay, we'll leave it at that. I'm actually about to do a top 10 best mechanical broadhead and a top 10 best.
Oh, nice.
Fixed blade, all times. And again, in-house experience, what we've tested, there's always going to be the guy who's like, you didn't even put this in there. I'm like, well, to be honest with you, I haven't heard of that one yet, but I'm happy to go get it and try it.
Right, I'll write it down.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I got lists and lists and lists on my computer of just like stuff I've never even heard of. And still to this day, I come across gear and manufacturers and stuff that I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Never even heard of it though, which is crazy. Thinking I'm in this field doing what I'm doing, and there's still things I haven't heard of. So.
Still stuff coming out, yeah. What are you thinking about the new FMJs? I know you're an FMJ guy.
Oh,
You
the
like
match.
it? Yeah, you like that they lighten them up a bit?
I'm an FMJ fanatic.
I know.
I again, personal experience, and again, it all kind of comes down to what you're hunting, the distance you're shooting. FMJs to me are just that perfect hard hitter.
Mm-hmm.
They run a little heavy. I'm never shooting over 30 yards usually. Maybe 40. Longest deer in the timber I've shot was like 55. So I keep it real nice and tight.
Yeah. Just want to
And
hammer
that
when
comes
it
with
hits.
time and experience too, like getting in that red zone and getting yourself those shots. That's what you want. And so I have confidence in myself that that's a shot I'm going to take, 20 to 30 yards. But FMJs are just them hard hitting, I mentioned in that one video, you got to be careful about that aluminum, that casing. It will bend not to the naked eye. So you constantly want to run them through that balancer.
Keep spinning. Yeah.
Yep. And because sometimes you're like, ooh, that one was off and I've been using that one,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easton arrows, though, are just, some of my favorite. Now, there's a ton of arrow companies out there. That's one of the, I actually have several boxes in the garage of arrows I have yet to review and test. And I get the emails. When are you going to, we sent you all the arrows. When are you going to get the review on the arrows? I'm like, you guys, you got to give me time,
Yeah, we're getting to it. Yeah, I just got
people send me trail cam video. Oh, yeah.
I just got the 5.0s and I went out I film all the videos in my barn, and I've got about 5 feet of snow up to the door, and the door's frozen shut. So my next mission is to get in there so I can actually film these. But yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah, there's arrow companies coming out of everywhere.
This guy just sent me. He just sent me a new company, and again, I like. I mean, guys will give me feedback constantly to look into different things, and one of the guys just sent me something, a whole new company that he was like, you have to, it's called Warhead Arrow Company. You ever heard of that?
Warhead, no.
Warhead. So again, that's just another one. Like it's like, okay, well now I'm going to look into that one.
And the
FMJs are a go-to, but I like the Rip TKOs.
Yep.
I'll be honest. I mean, I broke several. I probably don't even have the original dozen I bought.
Mm-hmm.
So in that aspect, if you like reusing your gear, which I love, I don't know why I'm addicted to reusing the same arrow. It's like an obsession of mine.
Oh yeah, I did that.
If I can reuse the broadhead and the arrow on multiple deer, I don't know why, but I love that. I feel like that's like an accomplishment. I don't know. Some guys are like, I have a friend who's like, I've never shot a mechanical twice. I'm like, what are you doing with them? And can I have them?
Where are they?
Yeah, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
But the FMJs are one that I shot one season. I shot, I think 5 or 6 deer with the same Schwacker and the same FMJ.
Oh. Yeah, that
full pass through every single one. 5 deer, same season, back to back to back to back. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I wonder how long this one's going to run. Finally, the last one, it bent the Schwacker a little bit and it bent the arrow a hair, so I hung it up. But I think it was more of it hitting the ground so hard or hitting something in the ground. Yeah. I probably could have used it again if I wouldn't have hit a rock or something.
So wound channel with those is incredible. Once they open, oh.
If we had a sneak peek to the top 10 mechanicals of all time, I'll tell you Schwackers will be up there. Some of the best flying broadheads on the market. They're just out to 80 yards. I mean, they're some of my favorite.
Yeah, there's so many. It's crazy. What do you think is going to be a sleeper bow for 2025? The Darton, you think, or something else?
Oh, I don't even think Darton's a sleeper bow. I think it's just that. I mean, Darton this year killed it. You know, again, if we had to do like a sneak peek into the top 5 bows of this next year, Darton will be in there for sure.
Yeah.
You have 3 aspects of those Dartons that I love. The new tuning that they came out with this year, user friendly. It makes sense if you're learning the mechanisms of a bow. That tuning system just makes sense.
Yeah.
It's easy to understand and see how it works, why it's beneficial. Okay. I love that. The price. I've said this for forever. You have this gap in the archery community. You're either going to get a bow for $500 or you're going to pay $1,500. Now we've started to see more and more companies, prime through the Ronin in there.
Oh, the Ronin. Yeah.
A couple of these companies are starting to come out with these bows where it's like, thank you. Not everybody has that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are saving up, just to get the $800 or $900. That's a lot of money to a lot of people. And I didn't, even though I came from that, not having any money when I first started and really having to save my money for bows to where I've come today, we're like, I'm blessed,
Mm-hmm.
I always forget, and backyard bows always reminds me that the majority of hunters, I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. $500 is a lot of money. So to have companies realize that, start trying to bring that price back down, give us some great quality. I love that. I think that is very, the Hunter 33 from
right. Another one.
Just any of those that like just a little bit, just
Mm-hmm.
give us a little bit back, give us the quality that we want, that we all want. Give us a little off the top.
Yeah.
Prices are getting out of control.
Out of control. These carbids. Holy cow.
We need to go on strike. Okay.
Yeah, right?
All the hunters need to go on strike and say, hey, I'm not paying $2,000 for a bow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can tell me it's the economy all you want, but I feel like you're being a little greedy. I'm just saying. Okay.
Make archery affordable again.
Bring it down a little, or at least sealing it. Put a cap on it.
Right. Yeah.
Let's stop.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's right. That's right. Stop.
Oh man, it's absurd. And it's funny because like people are like, oh, I get, the new guys. Oh, I can do that bow. It's $1,300. I can get that. I'm like, listen, hold up. You have an extra 1,000? You got an extra 500 because we just got the bow.
Yeah.
We got a lot of other stuff to purchase before you can start slinging arrows in your backyard. Okay.
Yeah. Everybody wants the flagship and then doesn't have any money left when they got to buy arrows and a sight and a stabilizer and a rest.
Quality setup, and I want to make this video too. So I have like a list of like 58 videos that I want to make. One of them is like the best setup for $1,000. Because I feel like that's like a mental target range for like all these guys are like, I have $1,000. I saved it for $1,000. I want to spend, and it's like a really good big investment for them. I want to spend this $1,000. I want everything. What's the best I can get for that? So I always thought that would be a good video too.
Really good.
And again, that's a lot of money. You guys were going to get on here and be like, $1,000. I'm looking to spend $300. So.
And don't be afraid to get ones from like last year or the year before that. Or 5 years ago,
100% the best thing you can do. And what I did for years and years and years was buy a bow. I always would say 2 years behind.
Yeah.
The flagship bows from 4 or 5 years ago, those are outperforming, there's not a huge difference. We reached a peak of like bows with speed, technology, all of it, We're switching it up and taking things and giving and taking, but in the end, like we've kind of hit a ceiling with archery, and I hate to say that, but we have.
Oh yeah.
Now they might inflate something or change the IBO, how you grade it or whatever, but like if you look at my list of bows on my countertop there, I have in the backyard bows setup, 80% of those bows are going to fall in the range between, with the testing we do, fall in the range between 268 and 285.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all of them,
Yep.
new, old, the fastest, the slowest. They all, when you get up, bump up that arrow weight. I like the 500 tester. The 500 grain tester we do. Everything is right in there.
Yeah.
We're not coming up with any crazy new speeds. We're not coming up. I love the new technology they're putting on bows. Like that's just fun.
Almost feels like they should wait 2 years before they, don't come out with one every year, because you're making such.
Even the owner of this archery shop, I've talked to him about this so many times. I wish they would do like a flagship bow one year, a budget bow one year, and they would alternate going back and forth between like the budget friendly bow, put some really good time and effort into it, give us a good product for a good price. Yeah. And then the next year, put out that flagship bow. That would be a perfect world.
Yeah.
Giving archery shops too a little bit of time to like sell what they have and what they've committed to.
Yeah, like I was telling Brian from Prime, and I also had Josh Sidebottom from Elite on here, and I said, I don't know how you do it. Like, you came out, you designed 5 bows this year, and like I said, you probably can't tell me, but like I'd love to sit in the corner of one of these meetings that you guys have where you're coming up with ideas. Like I know, I said, what can you tell me about it? He goes, well, we know that we have to come out with something, and we have an idea of what we want, but we might also be working on, say, a new dampener. Maybe it's ready for this year, maybe it's not, and we'll put it off to next year. Like he's like, we always have things in the mix, and then we have other things that are years ahead. Kind of like with Prime working on the, putting the carbon and the aluminum together, and it took like 10 years before they got it. Like, just
it can't be it can't be like the most profitable to be doing this. Like
no,
they do it to keep up with each other.
Yeah,
because they know that the other company is going to put out something new. So it's like this, like I have to keep up.
Yeah.
But no, it would obviously be the most profitable to keep all of your machinery and everything set for a couple years to produce the same thing. Have your designers and stuff really focus and let them take their time. And it's like a catch up process. It's like they're just trying to keep up with each other.
Yeah, like it's like this year, Hoyt put a lot of focus on the cam, right? Made a bunch of changes to their cam. There's now 2 different back wall settings you can put on it. Like I went to TAC, Pennsylvania TAC. So I'm in Ontario in Canada, but we drove down to Pennsylvania for TAC, and I went over to the Hoyt booth, and they're like, you want to try one? I'm like, oh, you probably don't have a left-handed one. And I had literally bought this like 3 weeks before. And he's like, oh yeah, we got 2. So they brought out the Alpha X and the RX8 Ultra, and they set them all up for me. And they're like, here you go, have at it. And I shot them both, and closing my eyes, I probably couldn't tell the difference between the 2. They were they were so close, and I was like, this is nothing like the 2019 Hoyt I had, because I was used to a little bit of sponge in the back wall. There was a hump when you pulled it back. Right now, it's just like smooth as butter.
Hoyt cams had a very
solid,
distinct feel to them.
And I was just like, oh my!
I used to tell people I could draw several bows blindfolded. I'll tell you a Hoyt one every single time, just from those cams they ran for forever.
Yeah,
I think Hoyt, and maybe this is obvious, but I think Hoyt's, they're just the direction they're heading. I love personal preference. Like I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
everything, all the changes they made with the cam, everything, it's beneficial. I love customization for like preference. The feel of the bow. Anybody who does quarter increments on the draw cycle, the fluctuation of the let off, all of that, I love that, because that's when you can really like get a bow to feel
tune it
perfect for you.
Yeah. Okay, so you wore some Numa stuff this year or last year. What'd you think? I was doing the same.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
So good.
So it was perfect. I didn't plan this out like this, but it was perfect going from Sitka to Numa, because Sitka, it's undeniable. So in backyard bows, let's take a step back. Backyard bows, I have 3 categories. When I'm looking at something, or if I was to pick like the best releases or try to, differentiate between a couple things. I like to go 3 categories. One is the person who you just want the best bang for your buck.
Yep.
You don't got a ton of money to spend. You want something you're going to get a little use out of, and that's going to ultimately perform while you have it. And then you have this middle category where you have a little bit of money. You want something like an ROI, something that's going to have a little bit of return on its investment.
Yep.
That's usually where I land, like in general, just in life, right in that middle category of like, I got a little bit of money to spend on something. And I'm going to try to seek out like the best thing I can get for the price, and then you have like the guys like, it doesn't matter. They're like, I'm going to buy this.
I want the best thing that's out there.
But I also know what I'm getting.
Right.
It's the category of like guarantee.
Right.
Like, I'm going to buy this and I know exactly what I'm getting. I know the quality. I know how it performs. I know it all because like I'm paying for it. That's Sitka. Sitka is undeniably some of the best gear you can get. But it's absurd. Again, if we talk about these pricing, it's crazy. In my mind, and again, I didn't plan it like this, but the next best thing that I have found is Numa. I mean, you get an amazing quality gear.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Geared towards bow hunters, which I also love. You have a whole bunch of bow hunter minded people there doing the designing, the selling, getting the feedback, all of that. They kind of have like a bow minded, core of employees that you can tell when wearing it in the field, somebody's put some thought into just all of it. And then you get it for this price that's like, we're cutting Sitka in half, and you can feel good about your purchases. I mean, I ran that stuff from the very day one to the very end. In the middle was the Waypoint. In the beginning was the Renegade. And then I ended up with the Torrent bib and jacket.
Yep.
I absolutely loved it all.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to nitpick and split hairs, which sometimes I like to do, I would say the fit. It wasn't maybe as tapered in some areas that I would have liked, but that's it. Mm-hmm. The function, the waterproofing, the technology, the scent technology, all that kind of stuff that they've kind of thrown in there and come up with, as well as the warmth. Some of the best gear I think I've ever had. The heated core.
Oh,
I have hunted for a heated battery operated vest.
Yeah.
Anything. I think I bought every single one on Amazon. Just looking for one. You use it once, twice, battery goes dead. You end up. My closet right now, you would laugh.
Yeah.
I probably have 9 different just heated gear,
battery powered. Yeah.
And I'm gonna have a garage sale and sell it all because I found heated core. It's the best. I wore it through duck season. I wear it during snow removal here in Missouri because we plow snow.
Oh yeah.
I use heated core all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Amber on here from Newman. I'm like, I put it on the red, and then I'd usually use it to kind of like give myself a little bit of a bump,
turn it off,
and then turn it off because I'm like, I gotta die. I'm here.
Heats it up. Yeah,
gonna die.
I think I ran it on like the medium setting, like most of the year. Occasionally put it on the red. I love the batteries. I mean, the function of them, again, just being able to charge something else. And like when I first got it, they didn't have that ability. And so I talked to Amber about that. Like, it'd be really cool if you could charge something on these. And then they added that. She's also an awesome person.
She's fantastic.
She's been an absolute pleasure to deal with Numa. And everybody there has very helpful, very small feel company to that.
Very small
organization and the way they cater to you and like help you answer your questions, take the time, very responsive. Couldn't speak more highly of Numa. And if we didn't do what we did at Backyard Bows, I would 100% be using them next year. But we're going to make another, we'll jump.
Yeah.
Try out a whole new company. I don't know who we're going to do yet, but we'll try something,
Yeah, I found I was wearing less too, because like I got the Ventus set, and I had like the Renegade Swift hoodie. So I had a merino layer, the Renegade Swift hoodie, and then the jacket, and I was perfectly fine. And then when it got really cold, I threw the heated core on, and then I found the middle setting, and it's like a slow burn, and I was like, "This is I was in a blizzard in the saddle. I'm like, I can stay here all day. I've
Yeah.
never been more comfortable in my
Yeah.
life.
Well, and if you
Crazy.
hunted long enough too, you know, like that's the worst. I don't know how many missed opportunities I've had just because I got too cold.
You
I
got too
couldn't
cold.
take it.
Yeah.
I had to get down. I you
Yeah.
know, and I use a climber, so like I'm up there. You get too cold, your hands freeze. In a climber, you're gonna be stuck.
You're
You
gonna be
know,
stuck. Good luck getting down.
you can't grip that climber and move your legs, like you're gonna be stuck. So like there's an aspect where I'm up there like, all right, I gotta get down.
Yeah.
I'm getting too cold, and I'm gonna end up calling my brother and be like, hey, you gotta get a ladder out here because
I'm
I'm up
stuck.
here, you
I'm
know,
stuck.
which I've done.
Yeah.
But the heated core, that's something like I felt not just okay, but like perfectly comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, my hands and feet will get cold occasionally, but like my body felt so good with and I just ran like the heated core and a layer.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
the Gunnison hoodie over some stuff, which I love. That's like my favorite piece of gear I think I have right now, that Gunnison hoodie.
Yeah.
That
I gotta
merino
pick
wool
that one
hoodie.
up. I gotta pick that one up still.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I wear it just around, you know, I just wear it constantly. I love it. But I would wear the heated core and in the middle of the season, the waypoint pants and jacket, and then I moved to that torrent bibs and jacket, and it was just 2 layers the whole time, down to I think 16 degrees. You know, in Missouri, it didn't get too cold this year. I think that was the coldest I hunted in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could have hunted longer. We ended up getting a blizzard here that really, you know, our company kind of went balls to the wall for about 8 to 10 days. And then that was right towards the end of the season. And I didn't get to finish out. I never don't finish. I mean, it's been killing me. Still had a buck tag left. I haven't done that in a while either. That's killing me.
So how many deer do you have down there? Roughly, would you say, population wise?
Oh, I don't know. That'd be a question for the conservation. I know we take a lot of deer out of Missouri every year. It's crazy the amount that they claim we take.
Oh.
And the amount that we still see. It's honestly, it really shows you at this point of the game, if hunting and conservation were not a part of this, it would be out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the deer populations are very great and healthy here, just from what I see. And then if you look on the statistics at the end of the year on how many we harvested in Missouri, it's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
And I think a very fair state. You know, you can't hunt over bait here.
Oh, not at all, eh?
No, not at all. You got to have bait up months before the season starts, maybe 30 days or 45 days. I should know that too.
It can't be out in the open when the season starts. It's got to be.
Oh no, it has to be up months before the season starts. I mean, we have a very fair. I love it. I love it. Very fair chase. And I've gone and I've hunted in Kentucky, and you know, over 100 pounds of corn, like, and you're sitting there like, okay, I'll do it, but this doesn't seem very fair, you know. Yeah. And again, somebody's going to get on here and I'm not hating. If you're outside and you're doing what you love and you're bringing back the best food possible for your family and loved ones, I don't care how you did it. You could have used a bomb. I don't give a shit. I don't, and I'm not judging.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to sit here and be like, you know, there's just a difference between hunting and harvesting to me. I'm a big, you know, if you want to prove to me that you're a good hunter, getting on a new piece of property, sight unseen, no trail cameras, you got a week. You bag a buck. That's an accomplishment to me. You know, that's what it's all about. Anybody can bait. You know, it's just And maybe just because I wasn't grown up that way. Maybe if I grew up in a state where like that was more normal, I would be like, yeah, it's just what we do. I don't know. But yeah, it's just a different world, you know.
Can you tell us a hunting story from either from this year or one that's, I know they're all memorable, but something that sticks out?
Yeah. I got one. I got a great one. First real deer that I, just like we talked about, like I hunted. Okay. I was like 23 or 24, and I bought my first piece of property right outside of Merrimack State Park in Sullivan, about an hour away from where I live now. It was 19 acres. I'm 24, maybe.
Wow.
I'm proud of this. This is like, yeah, I barely have a truck at this point,
Right.
you know, but I was like, this is more important, you know. I'm still renting, don't have a house, you know.
This is mine.
But I bought this 20 acres, and
that's awesome.
It was beautiful. It was untouched Missouri hardwoods, timber, rolling hills, backed up next to the state park. So you got a lot of that wildlife overflow from the state park, you know, and Merrimack State Park. You got 50,000 acres or something like that. It's a massive state park, and this is right real close to the river, so the wildlife is teeming. I mean, I'm ecstatic, you know. And the guy that sold it to me, he bought it when he was a younger guy, and that's all he ever used it for was hunting. They never built on it, never timbered it, nothing. Just a nice little piece of hunting property that was close enough to home that you could get to with a day trip, you know, get out there 50 minutes door to door. And I also didn't run trail cams at this time, which is a game changer, you know. And honestly, one of the first properties I ever hunted, they didn't allow game cameras.
Oh, no way.
You know, and it was 3,000 acre farm, and I was lucky enough to be able to hunt on here, and they didn't have any. Nobody ran cameras. The owners didn't run cameras, and they liked that whole idea of you don't know what's out there, you know. And then guys come back with their stories of what they saw, and you know, it kind of keeps a cool aspect to the hunting lodge. But I came across a small cedar, and I have a picture. I'm gonna have to send you the picture so you can throw it up in the middle of this. Okay.
Sure.
This deer had rubbed this small cedar down. When I say a small cedar, I'm, you know, something like this. He had rubbed it down to probably.
Whoa.
I couldn't believe it was still standing.
A twig. Yeah.
Something that would probably was communal, you know.
Yeah.
You know, big deer hits on it, and you get all these other little bucks that'll come through and hit on it. But that was like the first real, you know, scrape I came across where I came across where I was like, holy crap, you know. So you know, I got my scout in and head home, come back. I think I hunted. I always try to hunt so many days in a row. I like 4 days in a row. Even if, you know, some guys will hunt like when they can. And I do that too. Like, hey, she said I can go. I'm going.
Out.
You know,
I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
But if I can plan it, I always like to hunt 4 days in a row because I feel like on certain properties, especially the ones I hunt on, like that's a pretty good pattern. You know, every 3 days, something like that. Maybe a big buck every 10 days. But a 4 days would give you a good chance, you know, at seeing something. Mm-hmm. If you can get out, in and out, you know, undetected.
Yeah.
And it was like you know, just I think I was shooting what was I shooting? I was shooting an old Matthews, maybe a switchback. I think it was a switchback. And sure enough, I first time I ever saw a deer on hoof chasing. You know, such a cool experience. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, first ones come through, tried to stop him. Luckily, I couldn't stop him because, you know, it wouldn't have given me the opportunity at the deer I ended up getting. You know, I would have shot him. Wasn't nearly as big, but, you know, if he would have stopped for me and given me a shot, I would have stopped him. and shot him. But, sure enough, pretty good activity. And then finally, right before dusk, he's a massive 8-pointer, probably one of the biggest 8-pointers I've ever gotten. I actually didn't have any money at the time, so I just cut his antlers off, because I couldn't get him mounted. I didn't have any money to get him out, and I had those antlers in my garage for years.
Yeah.
And finally this year I had an extra cape.
Oh, nice.
So I took him down to my buddy Chris at Belmar's Taxidermy, and he's gonna full mount, shoulder mount this deer for me, that I recreate this deer, which I usually wouldn't do. But because I shot the cape and he's like that deer I've always wanted to recreate and see, I'm excited to get that one back.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
But yeah, one of the biggest deers I've ever got. One of the first real deers I ever actually scouted and hunted and set everything up and drug out by myself. And, the sense of accomplishment I felt on that drive home, I don't think I've gotten in too many other things in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just knowing that I put forth an effort, I didn't give up. I learned from a mistake that had happened on one of the earlier sits where I got really bummed out that I, bumped some deer going in or something. And, instead of quitting, you just kind of keep going and keep at it. And I think I got that deer one of the last days of the season, so hunted right down to the end, and,
Cloud 9.
Yeah. And I can't wait to get that one back. I'll have to send you a picture and show it to you whenever he finally gets back on the wall.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for jumping on here. I appreciate it. I could probably talk to you all night.
Oh man, we'll have to do it again sometime.
We'll definitely do this again as often as you want. Whenever you want to come on here, you're more than welcome.
Let everybody luck to you and the podcast and the everything.
No, thanks.
I love the podcast you've been putting out, and you've been pumping them out. So keep it up, man. I think we're going to put out one more video here soon of just what we've been doing. We get so many questions like, "Hey, when's the next review going to come out?"
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to make a little video of the new shop, the new setup, what we've been doing, and put kind of a real aspect to this whole thing that hey, I'm not sitting on my hands here.
No, we're growing.
I wish I could be doing reviews all day, but give me a second. Backyard Bows is always in full swing. I had to push a pause button for a second while I handled this other thing. And then we'll hit the ground running again with some reviews. We got some cool stuff in the works. So
nice. So your Backyard Bows on YouTube and the same on Instagram.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll post stuff on Instagram usually, all kinds of stuff, but also kind of inform people what's coming next, which is always nice. Kind of let you know what's going to pop up on YouTube and what you can look out for.
Little snippets here and there.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one, man.